And so that's how we start the book. It's why Kith? Why Kith? So I will read it. Perhaps you're wondering about this word Kith. I hadn't really thought much about this word other than its use in the phrase kith and kin, which is the name of the exhibit. And in a way, we shall see that it is. But I was stopped in my tracks when the word was cited in the lively book Rooted, Life at the Crossroads of Science, Nature, and Spirit by Leanda Lynn Howe. I learned that kith originally referred to a familiarity with one's home turf or landscape. It was about intimacy with place. I am reaching back to this earlier meaning, and that reach goes back over 1,000 years because of how this word embraces the idea of a known place. Kith suggests a kind of homey familiarity, just as kin evokes a particularly close relationship with our folk. Such knowledge of locality would come to blend intimate knowledge with both the landscape and the people who live there. This might explain how kith and kin came to be. The word's root originates in German and became both kith and kuth in English. Kuth became kuth, C-U-T-H became kuth, the original meaning being knowledge like kith. Perhaps it is good manners to look into kith. Keep that in mind as you explore your place in the months and years ahead. When I was in college, a dear classmate gave me the nickname Kith. And this name, no doubt, was also a cause for me to stop and take note when Haupt identified Kith and Kithship as a tenet of rootedness. Adopting the name Kith for this project helps me focus on this very gentle but all-encompassing way of connecting with home. So that's Kith. And then I'm going to just tell a little story, which I talk about a little bit in here, about how I came to realize how interested I was in the idea of home. And when I majored in art history when I was in college, and Jean was a fellow art history student, and she's actually really done something wonderful with her degree. But and she's a filmmaker. I was told that if I wanted to go on in art history, I needed to learn German because the Germans invented art history. So even though I was a very non-adventurous person and had hardly gone across the state border by myself, I set off to learn German in Germany. And so I took off in this plane and was there. It was in the 70s, and the Olympics in Munich had just been a few years before, and there were things were on high alert. So we got we didn't land where we were supposed to land. We landed somewhere else. So, but I finally made it to Munich, and from Munich I was taking a train down to this little town in the foothills of the Alps called Murnau, and where Kandinsky painted, actually. And so I managed to make it there, and I get off at the station, and the tracks, the place where I got off the Gleis, was on one side, it was towards the station, and the other side was like this cow pasture. And so I got off and saw the cow pasture, and I thought, whoa. Anyways, well, I should explain, I also knew no German. So, but I managed to make it there and make it to the school. And even though I was such a homebody, I loved it. I loved it because it made me realize what I want in a home. And I discovered, one of the things I discovered there, well, it was so exciting to learn a language and to actually be able to communicate. I didn't know that I'd be able to do that, to communicate with people in that language. Although they speak Bayerisch, they call it in Bavaria, and it's kind of hard to understand. but so the effect was that although I didn't go on in art history, but I discovered how important home was to me and what I wanted in a home. And one of the things, all the towns in Germany would have these little community centers where you could go to concerts. And there were these really warm places with a lot of wood. And it just fed me so much. So when I came back, I got a job with the Lexington Council of the Arts, which is now Lex Arts, a sponsor of Harstad. So I came to a concert for the Center for Old Music in the New World, which my mother always thought I was saying Center for Old Music. Anyways, and it was here, in there, and the concert was so wonderful, and I felt so at home, and it was like being in this little community center in Germany. And so that is why we joined Faith back in 1990 when we were looking for a faith home. And so Faith Lutheran is part of my kith, and I think it's all related, and there are a lot of connections. And I'm finding from this project just how many connections there are in ways I wouldn't have imagined. So thank you for being here, and thank you for being connected with me in all these different ways. And I hope that this gives you some hope when we're at a time of a lot of turmoil, that we can get grounded in what we believe and our values, and that can be the values of home. So thank you very much.